into your actual topic that we're talking about. I'm also going to confuse people because I don't think anybody realizes that my face hasn't been on this show for a while, and my voice has been absent for a little while as well. So, hey guys, how you doing? We're live on the Metal Lab this week. I'm back and I'm hopefully for the foreseeable future, I should be able to hit the Monday night timeline for now on. Some things may happen here or there, but we'll just try to postpone episodes from there because I'm back in action, baby. I'm here. I'm alive. I'm also joined by Jay.
Hi.
All right, guys. We got a lot to talk about today because a couple weeks ago was U.S. Nationals, and I was able to watch on the live stream, even though I wasn't actually participating. And I have some observations from that as I was watching. And we're going to talk a lot about what's been shown because, hey, Jay, you know the Batman the Animated Series set was around the corner?
I'm vaguely familiar with that fact.
Yeah. Do you think that set was going to sell particularly well?
I thought it was basically a sure thing.
Yeah. And they've done something that's going to make sure that there's actually a crisis of product at this point because, oh boy, have we got some stuff to talk about. So
yeah. There's not a single dial shown so far that I wouldn't at least try and casual for fun.
Absolutely. Before we get into that, of course, how's your week in Heroclix been, Jay?
Thursday was 401. What the hell was? Oh, I was covering for Glenn because he is on vacation. He's
out in Poland, right?
He's in Poland. We did 500 or 600. I can't remember. No theme rules, basically. Just play literally whatever you want. So I did Spider-Man and Friends and Girlfriend. So I did Civil War Charge Flurry Spider-Man, Spider-Buggy, Spider-Gwen, the first one, the super rare, Betty Brant, Mary Jane from Superior Foes, Black Cat from Deadpool, She-Hulk with the awesome I get to hopefully get map roll trait, even though it never worked out because I wasn't a theme team, from Age of Ultron, and Shifting Focus Deadpool. Oh, and LE Agent Venom. I played a couple fun games, and they were fun. And it was really funny because I built the team first, and I was like, oh, there's a Heroes for Hire Bathrobe Deadpool, and two of my other characters have Heroes for Hire. That's pretty neat. She-Hulk Perplex, yeah, sure. But other than that, a lot of playtesting. I don't know what I want to play in the main event at Nationals, but right now I'm just concentrating on grinders with the safe bet, and the safe bet is looking good.
That's good news. The safe bet's always that case where you're going to get at least a top 2, and then, I guess it's not a top 2 situation. You want a top 8?
25th percentile, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, if I can't get it with Unimind Lockjaw, like, I shouldn't be playing in the event.
Yeah. So, myself this week, we had a casual tournament this week at the Comic Warehouse. Amber has a casual corner coming up around the corner about that, but roughly with 500 points modern, Batman team ability characters get shape change with protected Battle Fury. And I had a lot of fun with my team. It was an animal themed team. I did win all my games, and it did include Squirrel Girl. And throughout the entire day, I made approximately 6 squirrel men. So there were 6 squirrels. 6 sets of 6 squirrels in trench coats. I was thinking about going squirrel armor a couple times, but one of the games I had to play against an anarchy, so then they were squirrel minesweepers.
That's awful.
Yeah, when you have a regular pug generator like Squirrel Girl, anarchy doesn't bother you. You kind of just, in fact, you wait for them to kind of move forward towards you and then put the squirrels, and then it's like, let's see what happens, buddy. I ended up having a lot of fun, and yeah, it was a great old time. Also been doing a ton of play testing. About nailed my team down. Just waiting for bystanders to come in because Jason's playing a team that includes bystanders, guys. Spoiler alert.
No.
And of course, we get to play around with some of the Ninja Turtles Unplugged stuff in our spare time. Stuff's a lot of fun. I don't see it breaking the competitive game yet. The Shredders, there's some potential in them, But I think for the most part, this set's going to be super casual, which is perfectly fine as a set.
Yeah, that Karai, you didn't pull. I don't think you pulled the Karai. I think that was Tabletop Teacher.
I did. Yeah, no, I did not pull the Karai.
But that looks like a really fun figure.
Yeah,
like being able to actually make Batman TMNT name theme seems really fun.
Yeah, and I got an episode of Metafix coming up soon enough where I'm going to talk about how there's good and then there's good, which is what we talk about in competitive play. A figure can still be good, but not necessarily super competitive. So anyway, that said, we're going to lose our faces because it's time to talk Batman the Animated Series spoilers. And boy did they hit us with them this week. Woo-wee. We'll start with we're going to have to go in rarity order because in our document something got messed up. So long and the short of it, we're going to go in rarity order, but we'd like to thank Dice Kitty, Millennium Games, and Highlander Games for providing us with these awesome previews that, of course, I'm sure WizKids sent to them. So this is a really great look into what we're going to be seeing for the Batman Animated Series. And we're going to start with figure number 41, Robin, with the Batman family, Gotham City, martial artist keywords. This is, of course, the Tim Drake Robin. His trait, infiltration. If you did not choose the map, when placing characters during the game setup, you may place Robin in a square of hindering terrain within 5 squares of his starting area. So you get a little bit of a head start there with that. And then he's got a special defense power in his last 3 clicks. This is starting to get just sad, really. Combat reflexes and super senses, willpower, but only if there's a character named Batman or Bruce Wayne within 6 squares, 75 points or 40 points, mixture of some prob, enhancement, perplex, 5 range with 2 targets with the Batman team ability, ignores elevated terrain for movement. What do you think of Robin there, Jay?
I think you play him in sealed for sure. I'm not sure which of the 2-point values, leaning towards the lower because that reflexes and super senses is really good. But top dial's not bad either. I think there's only one other character with prob top dial so far, so you definitely want that prob in the sealed. Although it does look like a set where you're going to get theme. But as far as the meta goes, not so much. Definitely a fun little figure though.
Good, but not good. And yeah, 75 points for 2 target incapacitate running shot could go somewhere in sealed, especially when you include the fact that he's got prob, and prob is 1,000 times better in sealed than it is elsewhere. The fact that he starts on enhancement for his 40-point dial kind of makes me go wishy-washy on him for the 40-point unsealed. 75 is where I would lean. But at the same time, it does depend on a lot more decision-making that I get out of my packs. Next up, Zeta. Future, robot, and spy keywords. Infiltration unit Zeta is his... Wow, there's a lot of infiltration talk in this setting. Shape change. If Zeta is adjacent to 2 or more opposing characters, modify adjacent opposing characters' attacks by -1. He's also got an attack power on his first 4 clicks that gives him giant reach of 3. Extendable limbs, it's called. He can rebuild at the last 2 clicks. That gives him regeneration and toughness. And then he's got a special damage power. Disable your weaponry. Close. Modify attack +1 and damage -1. Then make a close attack. Hit characters can't use attack powers until your next turn. 85 points. Indomitable. He's got a little bit of movement attack. This is a sealed play. I'd play him in sealed for sure. Just because he's got like a 7 square reach on his charge. And you can use that close on his charge to possibly, if there's an attack power that's really risking something on your team, get rid of it. He's pretty tough, and we've already seen like Robin's not too strong. Other rares aren't super potent, so his invulnerable holds up a bit. But yeah. Overall, I'm pretty good on sealed for this guy. Pretty okay for casual play. Not going to be seeing him much in competitive. But what are your thoughts, Jay?
Yeah, definitely good for sealed, especially since there's not much in the way of reducers. Even if you do the -1 damage, he's still hitting things hard enough for the environment. So you get the benefit of the +1 attack and the no attack powers. So overall, I think you almost certainly play him in sealed.
Yep. And Indomitable with the gen at the back end. You're taking less of a risk on the regeneration with him. All right, next up we have the Joker. This is in the super rare slot. Arkham Asylum, Gotham City Underworld are his keywords. Giver of the Christmas present is his trait. The Joker may start the game with the Christmas present equipped. And then his special movement power is Jingle Bells, Batman Smells, Robin Laid an Egg. Charge, Plasticity, and Sidestep is what you get from that. And then his damage power, the Batmobile lost a wheel and Joker got away, gives him Outwit, Perplex, and the Joker uses when the Joker uses either, his minimum range value is 9. Outside of that, what you see is what you get. 75 points. Not Indomitable. Does have the Batman enemy team ability. Jay, your thoughts on the Joker?
It's kind of hard to say given that we didn't get the knowledge of what the present does. But
what about the past? But
at least we know that it will come on a call-in because it's start the game, begin the game, whatever. Looks like a real good call-in. Is he can outwit a defense power, up his own attack to a 12, charge in, whatever, and then plus SC sidestep poof himself off the map. So a lot of good stuff there. As an actual figure, I'm not going to say no, but I'm not going to say yes either. I mean, Joker Thugs can help, but
only so much, yeah.
9 range outwit is just not a thing anymore. Like we have Unseen, but that's basically it. I want to try to make him competitive, but we really have to see what the present does. And I'm gonna guess based on characterization, whatever, that the present is a debuff or whatever for opposing characters rather than doing something for himself.
I figured it would be energy explosion of some sorts with its set range. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well, we'll see.
One worth noting, like Jay said, there is the Con ID card to be used with this guy. The Con IDs, of course, also have the reverse inspiration. So if he does inspire his team, I should be doing this the whole time. What am I saying? I don't know. Oh, he'll take away a certain power. I think his was Perplex, right?
Yeah, Perplex, but then 3 when he pops in.
Yep. So it can go a long way.
That seems kind of relevant.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have the Robot Minotaur, animal and robot keywords. Also worth noting, this is from the episode where they introduced the Riddler in the show. Mm-hmm. I remember seeing this. They used to do a thing. I'm going way off topic, but I'm being me. Where when they introduced certain episodes or they'd start a new season, they do like an 8 p.m. This is what this show looks like for parents, and then they start the show back up on Saturday mornings. It was a really weird back and forth thing they used to do. I remember this. My parents let me stay up and watch this episode at like 8 or 9, just to kind of get a look at it. Anyway, off topic. His first trait: I have no muscle, yet I rule 2 hemispheres. What am I? This is why I kind of want to lead in that because it's very Riddler-like in his names. During force construction, if you have a character named the Riddler on your force, Robot Minotaur may be added to your force for 50 points. It does not count for or against the theme team. So he's already 60 points. It's like a 10-point discount. Solving the riddle of the Minotaur. When an opposing character targets Robot Minotaur with an outwit or perplex, roll a d6. On a 1 to 3 after resolutions, give Robot Minotaur an action token. If you have a character named the Riddler on your team, the action token is only given on a result of 1 or 2. And then he's got this dial with Giant and Indomitable. So if we look at this at base value, it's 60 points for an Indomitable Giant that's got Charge, Blades, Claws, Fangs, effective reach of 6 on its charge, exploit weakness to go with the Blades, Claws, invincible at the start, impervious in the middle, invulnerable at the end, depending on what our Riddlers look like in this set. I don't think we've seen any yet.
Nope.
He's there. So is the discount enough based on the downside? I'd have to say I feel like the discount should be a little steeper for that downside, but at the same time, we've paid more for less in this game. So I do have to say he's pretty good for his cost, but I think he could be lower when my opponent could be taking a free action and accidentally be giving this guy an action token. That's my thoughts. What do you think, Jay?
I think the problem are the attack values.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I'm sure they're counting on the fact that the Riddler has Perplex.
It's not a bad figure. I think it definitely has its place in casual, especially since there's a fair amount of Batman Perplex between Big Tony and other random whatever. And just being able to throw him on whatever team with the Riddler is cool and fun. But I don't think this. Maybe you play it in sealed. It depends how easy wooden blocks are to get, and depends.
I think
Riddler, it's variable.
I think the hardest part is seeing that this guy takes the super rare slot. It's a little rough to look at that and go, oof, a little rough on the super rares.
Yeah.
This feels like an uncommon that's overrated. But again, the cost and then a number of, it's a more complex figure, I guess. All right. Next up, Ink. Gotham City Underworld, future monster spy keywords. Ignores elevated for movement. Mutagenic experiment is her trait. Free, choose one. Stealth, shape change, tiny, or giant reach 2. Ink can use the chosen power or ability until your next turn. Then she's got special movement power, liquid polymorph, hypersonic, sidestep. If Ink occupies water terrain, she modifies her combat values by -1, and she can't use hypersonic, speed, or sidestep. Defense power is Shadow Meld that gives her super senses, energy, shield, deflection. 75 points, not dominable. Jay, what do you think of Ink?
Looks pretty amazing for sealed.
Yeah.
Just impossible to hit, lots of good options, incredible mobility. Not so much with the competitive. I just like this figure could be competitive. If it was just ridiculously undercosted, but as is, I think it's pretty appropriately costed.
Oh yeah, and you know what? It's appropriately costed because hypersonic and sidestep are great powers, but there's a downside if you put her in water. But I mean, how often does that really come up? You have to kind of force the situation. You have to be using Kingdom Come Aquaman to force water on her, or using some form of knockback to toss her into water. Now, that's not to say you can't do that. It's very doable in the modern game. People are using Force Blast very effectively these days. Chamber. So it's not to say that this character isn't great, and it's not to say that downside is a problem, but it can be a problem against the wrong opponent. Overall, this is one of those very good characters, like I was describing earlier. Very good, but not that good.
I should clarify, I'm not complaining that a character is appropriately costed, just stating, as far as the metagame goes, you're going to want the most undercosted thing possible for your return on your investment.
Yeah, that's just the min-maxing of it all.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up we have Zatanna. Now this one got me really excited. Zatanna's got the Justice League celebrity and mystical keywords. She's got the Justice League Unlimited trait. I think you might have gone over this a couple times in the last episode, but those of you who are catching us now, the Justice League Unlimited trait. At the beginning of your turn, roll a d6. On a 6, remove an action token from another character with the Justice League keyword that's 100 points or less. She's got a special attack power on her first 2 clicks of her 75-point dial only, penetrating Psychic Blast and Telekinesis. Oh, sorry, it's Magic Powers and Showmanship. I should be saying these things. And she's Psychic Blast and Telekinesis also free generate a Bat Bystander, maximum 2. We'll talk about those in a second. Then she's got a special damage power which she has on her first click of both her high point and her low point dial. And that gives her Perplex and Probability Control. And then we have the Bat here, who is Enhancement, Shape Change, Tiny, Sidestep, Flying, 14 Defense, 2 Movement. And then we have what you see is what you get, Dial with the Mystic's team ability. It's nice to see you again, Scarlet Witch. Where you been?
Apparently busy taking steroids. Oh my god!
Right? Like those of you who don't know the reference, go back to Chaos War. Go look at the Fast Forces from Chaos War, and go look at that Scarlet Witch, because we have version 2.0 right here, and that Scarlet Witch made it to every team. So I'm not saying it's for sure, but boy, is it likely to see this character a lot.
If you're comparing the 75-point lines, she does literally everything the Scarlet Witch did, plus some.
And plus some more damage.
Plus, actually, secondary attack status. Like, the 50 points is differently good because you don't have the barrier, but you get a defense power. But basically, I want this figure to see tables. The amount of call-in buffing you can get is crazy.
Absolutely.
Like, you could have maybe 2 enhancements for Plex and Prob. Like, that's nuts.
It's time to see if that Scarlet Witch can exist in this current meta, because she's right here. She just happens to be named Zatanna.
Yeah, I am looking at my meta stuff. I'm not seeing much mystical, unfortunately, right now. It's not the most common, although Mistress Death has seen some play in that keyword. So,
I mean, she could also be one of those ones that's forward thinking and may not be this meta. It could be the next meta or the next competitive rotation that we see this Zatanna really shine.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say right now. Right now, she's still just bloody good. Like, this is a fantastic figure. And I think she'd really shine on a Justice League team, given her Justice League Unlimited status.
Sure.
Right? Because we have that 70-point Superman that does a ton of damage and hurts itself if it kills things. Oh, no. Right? So, go ahead.
For Rock Age call-ins, like, being able to bring in an enhancement bystander and perplex and prob and TK or attack all in the same turn. It seems okay.
I think that this one really shines so far as competitive play. And I mean, when we shine like this on competitive play, it's almost completely auto play in sealed.
Like, oh, no question. I think the only question is which line. I feel like you almost always want to play the higher.
In this case, you do want to play the higher because the bats add damage to your entire team.
Yeah, unless you just happen to have close combat, in which case you still want TK. So yeah, you basically always play her at the higher points.
Yeah.
She definitely pulls her weight. She's hard to hit too with, 18 super senses and prob.
And she's not enticing to hit because she's got mystics.
Yeah, and this is not going to be a set where you see Invincible.
Nope. So. All right. Whew, now we've blown up about Hawkgirl. We're entering Chase territory. Did you have chases last week? I guess you talked about Chase Robin last week?
Just Robin. We blew up with the chases this week.
Yeah, we blew up a lot with the chases. When I said this set was already going to sell well, the popularity of the Batman animated series, the Batman Beyond series, the Justice League Unlimited, and the Super Friends was enough to sell this set. And then they made these chases, my God. My God. All right, let's start talking about Hawkgirl. Now, this Troubalert come in Hawkgirl trait, it's going to be a different character name every time. Sideline active, friendly characters have free if this character critically missed or this turn made the third attack this turn to miss all opposing targets. Place a character from the sideline that can use a Troubalert trait adjacent to its on its blue starting line. At the beginning of the turn, if Hawkgirl started the game due to the Troubalert trait, roll a d6 on a 4 to 6, deal Hawkgirl 1 unavoidable damage. She's also got a trait, not getting screen time, my occasional weakness. Unless Hawkgirl's attack is the first during your turn, characters modify defense +2. When she attacks them, characters modify attack +2 when attacking Hawkgirl if it is the first attack of their turn. And then she's got a special attack power, convince Earthbirds to help us. Power, generate an average bird bystander. If no other friendly characters are within 4 squares, generate 2 instead. And an average bird has flurry, 1 damage, 9 attack, but is also that new symbol that we heard about, the, what's it called?
Autonomous.
So their actions do not count towards your action total. Okay. What did you get, Jay? Just kind of regale me. What did you guys say about this type of chase last week?
There's literally no reason to not just fill your sideline up with these things. Like, especially when we have a more limited suite of ID cards now. Yep. So you just really play around and see what happens with your ID card lineup, and then just fill in the rest of your stuff with the chases, because why would you not? They cost 0 points.
I'm going to start a chalkboard or whiteboard. I'm not sure. I'm going to carry it with me once these things are out. I'm going to count the number of them that I personally bring into play, Because
when I was playtesting the other day, I wanted to start and keep track of how many times I would be able to call them in, but I forgot. But I will try and make sure. But as far as Hawkgirl herself goes, she, in addition to just, doing things herself, she helps you get other Troubalert characters on because the average bird is going to miss.
Oh, yeah.
With
the average bird is going to miss.
Doesn't count.
Yep.
Like, the average bird would just be bad normally, except for the fact that you can just get more chases. And if it does hit, you're like, cool.
This is the first chase set since what was the last chase set I had to get? Avengers Defenders War. This is the first chase set since Avengers Defenders War where I feel like I need to get them all. And now it's because it's competitive play. And now I feel like because I provide for myself and Amber, I need to get 2 sets of these. Like this. Oh.
Well, and they're not even unique. You might want to double up if there's all the ones we've seen, including the ones PBTA, are good.
Yeah.
But if there's a super duper awesome best one, do you want more than one of it? Who knows? We'll see.
It's unbelievable the power level of these things. I mean, now granted, I will say they are the squishiest things you've ever seen in your life. They kill themselves and they die to a stiff sneeze. Okay, I get that. But at the same time, right now, Hawkgirl, okay, kill my Hawkgirl. Too bad 2 average birds have already shown up already, right? I happen to have somebody with Empower nearby. That's a potential of 8 damage coming from them. 4 damage on their own. There's enough characters right now that don't have defense powers where, I mean, we're going to talk later about how Star Fox is out there in the meta, and he doesn't have a defense power. He does not reduce damage. So, yeah, these average birds are nutso. And they're autonomous kids. And on the same train, we talk about the Green Lantern. He's also a Troubalert character. We talked about the trait. We don't need to talk about it much more. The color yellow, my occasional weakness. Characters displaying the color yellow on their combat dial modify attack +2 when attacking only Green Lantern. Characters displaying a yellow power on their combat dial modify the defense +2 when Green Lantern attacks them. Cairo, my Venetian sidekick power, once per game, generate a Cairo token. Green Lantern may carry that character in addition to any other carried characters. Kyra has defend and support, and autonomous again. It can't be targeted by range attacks if adjacent to a character named Green Lantern. And this guy has enhancement on his Troubalert. You can't bring in Cairo on the Troubalert, thank goodness. But we got a 30-point barrier coming in on Troubalert that has TK and enhancement. and then he rolls a 4-6, and he's got running shot pulse wave.
Kind of reminds me of Power Ring.
Yeah. He completely reminds me of
Power Ring. I took a damage. We'll talk about Flash when we get to him, but yeah.
So we're talking about 2 of these, and neither of them are ones I would say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to hold off on this one on my sideline.
Well, plus, even if your opponent wants to kill them, that's still, on their first turn where they're on the map, that's all a solid 3 damage hit. That's not nothing.
No, that isn't nothing. Oh. And trust me, guys, I'm going to be missing. This is Jason Collins we're talking about. I have something of a reputation. I also have a first attack critical miss reputation. Oh, boy. All right, now speaking of the Flash, he's another Troubalert character. His cruddy thing is characters that can use sidestep, modify attack +2 when attacking only Flash. Characters that have sidestep, modify defense +2 when Flash attacks them. He's got a special movement power, which gives him flight, passenger 0, and hypersonic speed. That's basically to just give him the ability to ignore things on movement. The passenger 0 is assumed on hypersonic, but also when he has a flight, the passenger 0, so you're not carrying people with the Flash. And he's got a special attack power, telekinesis, pulse wave with a range of 4. And then his Troubalert 30-point dial starts with probability control. Hey, Jay, I just missed 3 times. What power do I think I'm missing right now?
Probably pro.
Oh, I'm probably going to start sounding like Edward Sheldon soon. All right, so when Batman the Animated Series set comes out, guys, you're entering the Troubalert meta, where their team, plus their ID cards, plus a series of Troubalert characters are going to be on sidelines everywhere.
Well, and we're also in the age where your opponent gives... Okay, like, we have 0-point sideline figures. We have a Retaliator that gives your opponent a figure. We have maps that cost points. Like, everything is wrong right now.
Okay.
It's pretty nuts.
Can I address the maps that cost points for a second?
Sure.
Who's smoking crack that thinks those are going to be tournament legal?
I don't know why they wouldn't be tournament legal.
I can name 1,000 reasons why they wouldn't be tournament legal.
Shouldn't or wouldn't?
They won't be. You bring that map that makes the bystanders. I don't, and I win map roll. You don't get your sideline characters, right? Or your bystanders.
Yeah, there's like, with the special terrain, there's a consolation or whatever, I think.
I think ultimately, though, this is why the starter set for this came with 2 double-sided maps. I don't think these bystander creating maps are going to be tournament legal. It doesn't. I just feel like it's not going to happen, and that's why we still end up getting 2 maps that can be used in competitive play. But
plus the OP kit, whatever. Which yeah.
But out of a single source, where we should be expecting, like, when I buy a starter set, I should have 2 usable maps in tournament play. Correct? The assumption. So if I'm getting 4 out of this, I almost feel like they're assuming they're not going to let us play with 2 of those.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost a bonus because you kind of have to buy the starter set because it has the newer pack and rulebook and whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Some extra fun stuff. We'll see. I distinctly feel like it's not going to happen. All right, now we talk about Troubalert Wonder Woman. Ugh. Tied up by my own magic lasso, my occasional weakness. Characters that can use TK, modify attack +2 when attacking only Wonder Woman. Characters that can use telekinesis, modify defense +2 when Wonder Woman attacks them. Special movement power, giving the Super Friends a ride on the Invisible Jet, even Aquaman. Though
I think that's more a Robot Chicken reference than a Super Friends reference.
Yes. Hypersonic speed, flight, and carry 2. Passenger 2, rather. Wonder Woman may carry one same-size character with the aquatic symbol in addition to any other carried characters. Come on. All right, and then he's got special attack power, Lasso of Truth, to capture them once and for all. Free, choose an opposing character within 5 squares of line of fire. That has a character adjacent to it. Roll a d6. For that character and each character adjacent to it, roll on a 4 to 6. Give the character you rolled for an action token. This is a free action. When Wonder Woman comes into play on this, she has leadership with 3 damage in addition to a 10 attack and charge. Guys, this is the one everybody needs to have on their team. If you have no other Troublelerts, it is Wonder Woman.
Yeah, so far I agree with you.
Like, she comes in and can give 2 to 3 characters an action token, in addition to being able to charge. And then next turn, it doesn't matter if she took damage, the 1 damage that she might take from this thing, she's giving you leadership the next turn.
But she only gives the 1 token because it says give the character you rolled for an action token, right?
But you roll a d6 for that character and each character adjacent to it.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay. But the sad part is I'm pretty sure that there's still going to be a chase that's better than this.
At this point, what's left? Superman and Batman?
Well, yeah, Superman and Batman are going to, what's Batman's weakness? I hope
Batman's weakness
also,
is going to be...
her weakness is beyond uncommon. Like, who has like, really, who just has TK? Like,
right?
Mind can pick it.
Yeah.
Who has TK? Like, that's ever going to matter. And
who's going to go out of their way to pick TK to get +2 defense against Wonder Woman?
And also the fact that you need to do more damage because she starts with toughness. You actually have to commit a bigger than normal hit.
You need to do 4 damage to get the 30 points.
Oh my
god. So I think without a shadow of doubt, we can definitely say that the chases in this set are going to see competitive play. It doesn't even matter if they see the board. They're going to be on sidelines.
Oh my god, there's going to be... It's like you're going to be like, wait, do I perplex at my defense? Would I rather them hit or miss? Like, oh god.
Like, oh, he's going to miss 3 times against me. What's Wonder Woman doing here? Oh, and this is extra effective because one of the things I'm noting in one of my upcoming meta fixes is that this is the competitive environment of what we like to call, or what I could call, the 100-hand slap or the flurry meta, where the strength of competitive play is based on the number of attacks you can throw, and on a bad turn, you're getting more stuff to work with. And you're making more than 3 attacks in in 2 actions in some cases, right?
Plus, leadership is so common, so that 4th action can still be used after you do Troubalert.
Yeah.
Like, you do 3 attacks that don't matter. Oh, no, they missed. Okay, so I'll get Flash from my prob for my actual important attack, in addition to any other prob I might have. Like,
we're entering an age of insanity.
oh my god.
Crazy.
I am very happy that it looks like the only competitive event I'm playing in this year is just before Batman comes out. So good luck with all that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Worlds right now, and I'm not even thinking about travel costs at this point. Travel cost is a moot point. Chase cost is skyrocketing right now. Just
yeah. Do you also know how many chases there are?
Well, okay, we've counted. Let's give it a count. We did
no. If you look at the collector's numbers, one of them is like 062, and one of them is like 071. Like, people are saying there's
1073.
Oh yeah, Hawkgirl 073, and Robin is like 072. Robin's really low.
If there's 12 of these things, thank God you're not required to collect them all then. Because for competitive purposes, this is the conversation we're having. If you want to play them in a 500-point team, you're drunk, enjoy, share your beer. But if you're talking about like the 300-point competitive game, you only get 3 sideline characters per 100 points, right? So you only get 9 sideline characters, period. And then you also have to include your sideline characters for ID cards. So if you are using ID cards, you're going to reduce your availability of these things. But here's the thing. You fill your ID cards, and then when you're done filling your ID cards, whatever you have left over is these things.
Yeah, well, also, so few of the ID cards now have options.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think Professor X and Cyclops are the only ones that have viable multiple options.
Yeah, like Iceman, you have the maybe I kill Mistress Death option, but realistically, yeah, it's down to those 2. Like, Wolverine, there's literally 1. Chamber, literally 1. Like, yeah, for the most part. So.
Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting sideline coming up.
Well, plus you have to take Unimind into account with his blip covering 1/3 of your sideline.
Yeah, because Unimind is basically always 3, no matter. I don't think there's any kind of Unimind build that doesn't use at least 3.
Why wouldn't you?
Right? Exactly. I mean, even if you're using the 275-point Unimind, you're using 3 and putting Thunderstrike on. It's
good luck.
It's both exciting and painful, let me tell you.
Oh, Pat got out at a good time.
It is exhausting to look at that and go, I gotta consider these things. I gotta get at least 2 Wonder Women. Oh
yeah, remember Tom saying that it's not good to not fill in your sideline? Well, now that's just mandatory.
Absolutely. Me and Tom were the kings of filling our sidelines. In fact, me and Tom actually had problems getting rid of certain things inside. Like, I think me and him at one point were competing for who could get the most things on the sideline or the most effective sidelines.
Yeah, the team that I'm playing right now has it filled because I have the Pocket Tank, I have 3 Eternals as 4, I have 4 ID cards. Only one of them has a second option, but that's already full. So you really have to think about what you want to do now with your team.
Yeah.
And like it's craziness.
I personally don't have a problem with the idea of filling up my sideline because the more thoughts I have, the better. There's a select number of people who do have issues with the number of things that happen on the board. I can understand their pain. I don't care. That's my heartless comment for the day. Mostly, I don't know. Maybe I do actually have an undiagnosed ADHD, and I actually function when there's too much to think about. But one observation I want to make as we start talking about some of the fallout from U.S. Nationals, and some things I haven't had a chance to talk about on the channel recently because of my absence from this. In a world without resources, it becomes a world to hoard characters. It also makes things difficult for trading. And now, this is like my hypothesis, my theory, my opening statement, as it were, where we got to look at where we're going right now and what we see. Multiple teams have had multiples of the same character. In the case, I think specifically we're going to talk Groot and we'll talk Wolverine, right? We've
Not
seen
even to mention Giant Girl.
Not even getting to Giant Girl. And there's I wasn't there, but Jay, can you attest there was teams with 7 Giant Girls?
There were teams with multiples, although I think the only one that was like really a Giant Girl swarm was knocked out by Isaac in top 16, and that one was like a legitimate all the Giant Girls team. But like what Isaac was playing one of each still, just throwing on his team. So
yeah. Excuse me.
But I saw a team with it's 4 main force Wolverines and I think 1 on ID card versus Kenji playing 2 and 1 on as an ID card presumably. So lot of Wolverines.
Yeah. And this is one of those things we cheer for the resourceless meta, and then we start to look at what actually ends up happening in that, and then we start to realize that characters in multiples start to look appealing again. I'm not sure why this specifically happens in a resourceless meta. We didn't have a lot of multiple of the same character teams dominating the resource-filled meta. There was a couple teams that had multiple Scarlet Witches. Stop hoarding the fast forces, buddy.
Yeah, the only team that really comes to mind was I guess when you randomly had like multiple atoms on the sideline or on the main force and on the ID card, or like Mike's double Loki. Yeah, but it wasn't that common to have doubles.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't incredibly common. And now, Abdul's team in the top 2 had 2 Groots. You had teams with 4 Wolverines. The Wolverine swarm is a thing, and people were playing it.
Well, that on top of everything else, it's good. In the future, we're gonna have the I have to get 2 chase Iceman's meta. Yeah,
where people are gonna want 1 on their student ID card and 1 on their headmaster ID card. That's gonna skyrocket Iceman's price already. And this is
we're gonna be living in a world where, okay, so student ID card. Let's just say you just have the student ID card at 3 points out of your 300-point build. 100th of your build is $150. Because what? The Iceman ID is easily 40 US, and the Iceman chase is at least 100, if not more. So you're paying.
ID is going to be packaged in with the Blackbird.
Oh yeah. So I was thinking of the other one, but basically you have to buy the $50 Blackbird.
Yeah. So I think 70.
That amount of money. So basically, 100th of your team is more than $100. That's insane.
Pretty close to 200 when you consider, 150 for the Iceman now?
I have no clue. It's been a while, but yeah.
I mean, if people are buying 2 Iceman, he's going to be worth $150. The secondary market on certain figures is about to blow up. And this, I kind of had a feeling was going to happen. As well, if you actually do a head count of the figures that were competitive play, while the teams did seem vastly different, they were actually different combinations of a lot of the same things, right? So Unimind was a thing. Lockjaw was a thing. Star Fox was a thing. Oh boy, was Star Fox a thing, right? We had maybe 2 different Shredders. So we're up to 6 figures in the meta so far. And then two different Giant Girls were competitive. Surtur is there, I'm sure. Right?
Yeah, he was there.
Carnage is still making a show. We're at 10 figures that are actually being played, right? And then, so long story short, back in the resource-based meta, we were playing with 10% of the game. It's kind of that was the rough estimate, based on averages that were actually increased by certain sets. We might actually be, and you know, if I'd love to be wrong once we hit this part where the Super Friends are on every sideline, but temporarily we're only playing with a handful of available characters, and this is kind of that thing that happens, and I kind of said was going to happen.
Yeah, well, the other thing, a lot of those figures are in the 75-point range, and they just mix and mesh so well.
Yeah,
like you have Captain America plus a Shredder, or Sam Cap plus a Shredder is just a great combo.
Mm-hmm.
And you still have half a team to work with at that point.
Yep.
Which is basically what Isaac did.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I was telling Amber, we were watching the live stream on Twitch, which it was fun to watch. It's always great. The commentary definitely needs a little bit more experience, but, new commentary teams, you can't complain too much. I mean, it takes a lot to actually be really good at Heroclix commentary. And some of the best people who are, or some of the people who are best at Heroclix commentary are at the other side of the camera and are playing. So unfortunately, the team that was there did a pretty okay job with what they had, and they'll get better with experience. So I hope they get some more experience, maybe practice just watching some games that are on the internet and kind of add your own commentary with the mute button on or something like that. Observing the game, because one thing I did notice, a couple observations I want to make. It's a 2-map meta right now, first of all. And those 2 maps are Wakanda and Star Trek Underground. Like, that's all we saw under camera. Jay, did you see much different one from your seats in the judge chair?
Well, I was demoing board games, so I was actually not in the area.
So, okay.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think. I watched the top 16 of Kenji was that was Wakanda.
Uh-huh.
And then Underground of Kenji versus Dan.
Uh-huh.
Muir Island for Isaac versus Matt, and then again Wakanda.
Uh-huh.
And we have to keep in mind the Genosha special terrain tag.
The Genosha thing exists. I have to...
Yeah, you're playing one double-sided map and then 2 other maps, essentially.
Exactly. So we're in a reduced map meta, which is a shame because those rubber maps are fantastic. But, of course, they're not one-sided to certain team builds, and the Underground map especially really limits mobility of a lot of teams that are out there. So I can't fault people. I'm planning on using it, and one of my teams that I'm thinking of using for Canadian Nationals definitely makes effective use of that map. So we got to start thinking now, if we start looking into the counter meta realm, like, okay, so we've seen what's out there. We know Star Fox is out there. We know Shredder's out there. Okay, I'm going to say this right now. There's no counter to the Shredder. There's no counter to the Shredder except playing the game. Shredders can die. They take a lot of work. You got to mount your effort. They're not unkillable. They're just hard to kill. But we have the Unimind to deal with. You have a Star Fox to deal with, et cetera, et cetera. What's more is you have maps that are now kind of taking these teams are taking advantage of. Is there enough walking through blocking these days? Probably not. Are certain characters that walk through blocking capable of doing things? I don't think so. I don't know. I'm kind of just being hypothetically negative right now. And again, these are problems we're going to run into, especially now that we've also seen a reduced amount of ignores hindering terrain. Like what character ignores hindering terrain? Unimind.
Yeah, Unimind and the least good Cyclops call-in possible.
Yep. Oh, sorry. I can't forget. I think Hawkeye ignores hindering.
Yeah. Oh, and Green Arrow if you're main forcing him. So yeah, the two. Yeah.
And they are main forceable. I did see George Massu's team.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very good team making effective use of the Green Arrow.
Yeah, Tom was trying it too. I've heard good things.
Yeah. It's basically a Green Arrow cannon is what it was. Green Arrow says that thing's going to die, and it dies. It's unavoidable.
Calls it how it is. Yeah.
Yeah. He calls a shot. If it doesn't die, it's going to die, one way or another. So it's very similar in vein to Drake Conrad's team that I played against a couple years ago in Ottawa and once in Canada in the ROC Canada Cup. No, ROC Provincials. So I played against the ROC Provincials and played against it in Ottawa. And I also played against it in Wizards Cash. And basically the idea of his old team was Yondu, put a bunch of things that are going to make him do a ton of damage, and ignore the map and kill a thing. And that's basically the same fundamental functionality of this green arrow team. I picked that thing. It's going to die. It didn't die. All right, well, I'm going to have to wait a turn now and probably try to kill it again on the next turn that I can shoot with the green arrow. Long and the short of it is it's a good team. And it is one of the few teams that can actually really ignore map, but you got to put into work. And it's what we like to call the glass cannon. If that green arrow dies, or gets hit rather, he feels every single bit of it. He doesn't live particularly long. I think, what does he have, 5 clicks?
Mm-hmm.
And Hawkeye's super squishy with low defenses too. So
16, yeah, he's not very defensive at all.
Like Walking Woods walk all over him. They're bystanders, right? I mean, granted, he can get them, but they have shape change rolls that they can get out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those, you want something to happen, and unfortunately it doesn't look like it's going to happen that way. So we have to go in another route, another direction. We got to pay attention to what's there. I don't think there's a hard counter, and it could just be that we hit this point where we got to kind of make combinations of what exists, which is it is what it is. It is going to, for those of you who scour and single hunt and build your teams based on that, get shopping now, because as we hit that point where either the meta is solved or the number of characters functionally able to play in the meta is kind of solidified, all of those characters are going to skyrocket in price. So Jay's shopping tip for the day: go out now, get your stuff now. If it's a con thing, maybe wait.
Yeah, but are we thinking, is the meta not diverse enough to the point where there could be a watch list incoming at the same time?
I don't think we're watch list ready. I don't think anything in particular needs a watch list at this point, because the diversity of build exists. It's just that diversity of build is not diversity of character selection. If that makes any sense. So
I feel like there's at least one character that could definitely take a look-see now. I think Sam really needs another looking at, or a looking at rather, because like she is infinitely better than when she first came out, and we're at the point where she calls in literally anything relevant. Like the amount of stuff she can do, like you can cross the map with her, call in Brutex, kill 3 Retaliators, get 3 Pogs, and do some stuff. Like, or the synergy with Wolverine, because Wolverine wants to be across the map. Sam helps you get across the map, so your Wolverine definitely gets his flurry, and just or Chamber, or any number of things. Like she can call in literally anything relevant. It's a little much, I think, at this point with what we have.
It's one of those things. She's really good, but I feel like all she does is break one fundamental of the game, and it chases a lot to break one fundamental of a game. And that is making an action after being taxied, right? It does draw targeting to the taxi, which is a thing, right? We all kind of look at those overdrives and say, okay, overdrive's kind of got to die. Or we look at whatever else is carrying her and say, okay, let's stop that thing from carrying her and deal with that. It's manageable partially. While she's able to call in things, those things do still have to hit. You can make it a little easier with her perplex, but it's still not necessarily a guarantee, right? She can call in Chamber, but Chamber's still got a 10 attack, which means she's definitely using her perplex on her attack.
11, actually.
Does he have an 11 attack?
Yeah, he's 11-3.
You know, everybody crapped on him, and I tried to be nice to him, and everybody...
No, the synergy with her is like they're exactly similar points. Like, you can bring him in, poison all the Retaliators, all the Pogs, and then Psychic Blast something else, or Generation. It's crazy.
Oh, no, I'm saying everybody who trashed on Chamber when we were first talking about him.
Yeah. They were totally wrong.
Everybody can get out of the room. I was like, this guy's actually not terrible, and everybody's like, no, he's terrible. Like, all right, fine, you say it.
Yeah, now I'm sure his ID card jumped.
All you can eat.
Yeah. But as far as Sam goes, we do have to consider she was literally half of the top 4.
Well, half of the top 4 is 2 teams.
3.
That's not half of a top 4 then. That's 3/4 of a top 4.
Well, no, she was...
Or was she half of the top 8? In which case
she was 2 teams out of the top 4.
Okay, it's a half of the top 4. That's 2 teams.
Yeah, but that's the top 4. That's the teams that make it.
And again, we have to go back to the fact that of those 2 teams that were playing her, at least one of them had a Star Fox, and another different team that didn't necessarily have a Sam Cap also had a Star Fox. So Star Fox was on 2 teams out of the top 4.
Yeah.
3 if you include the Unimine.
But Star Fox with Mjolnir in both cases, like it's not like Star Fox would have necessarily made it without the Mjolnir.
But that's, ultimately, if you did you look at the final when Isaac played? He didn't use Mjolnir.
Well, yeah, he had to rush in. I watched that game.
I mean, I watched it too.
Yeah.
So Mjolnir is a thing, and Mjolnir gets him there. But does he have to use it 100% of the time? Doesn't look like it to me. So it's a little bit more wide open in a certain sense than it seems. But I do kind of get what you're saying. Is Sam Cap seems very pressure based, and I know, like, the way I see it, Doc Ock should have been watch listed before Sam Cap, because Doc Ock gets 4 attacks and that does 12 damage.
Yeah, and he only got the outwit nerf way late into his life cycle.
And if we can deal with Doc Ock, we can deal with Sam Cap.
It's fair. Although I just think the problem with her is how, like, what she did, like, before, like, when she came out, like, the game in which she came out and the game that she's in now it's not the same.
Well, okay. She can carry, okay, right now she can bring out Chamber's the big one, Iceman's another big one.
Any Cyclops, Wolverine, Professor X's.
She was also able to bring out Hawkeye.
Yes, Hawkeye was a thing.
Right? So, yeah. And Hawkeye could kill a team.
Yeah.
So, and Hawkeye could wreck through a team in a world with the damage depletion modifier. And then they took that away.
Yeah. That was a good little combo there.
And, like, again, we go back to my 100-hand slap comment. We're in a meta where we got to throw as many attacks as we possibly can. They can't take away the damage depletion modifier now because everything that we're using attacks for has stop clicks. We need these to get through these stop clicks. So we need to be attacking 1,000 times, right? So it's a wacky meta right now, don't get me wrong, but it is a competitive meta. But at the same time, it draws attention to a small number of characters because we're resource free. We're not able to make characters that would normally be mediocre at best, be great. We are now in if a character is great, it's considered, and then we get stuck with what can fit on 2 hands instead of what can fit in a box.
Yeah. And it's not even like with the pace that the game is at now, you can afford to equip stuff necessarily to make it that much better.
Yeah.
So. And
I want to give props to Abdul because a lot of people talked to me and I said, this unseen thing is something to behold. And he brought it to the top 2. And Amber is even apologized and say, okay, unseen's a little better than I thought.
I got so much flack on Critical Clicks for about the unseen. And
like,
yeah.
Wait, did you say the unseen was bad?
Scott brought up the unseen in the context of the Sucks a Bag of Clicks segment. Both of them were like, oh, he's trash. I was like, no, he's fine. He's playable. And they were like, no. And I was like,
hey, where's Jack Frost right now? Just saying. You won an 8-man rock, right? Uh-huh. All right. So it's a weird right now state of the meta because when we hit Canadian Nationals, the only set we're adding is Digitals Unplugged, and first glance, it doesn't look like that's really changing any basic fundamentals of what we have to play. For the most part, we have what we're going to see. So at this point, we have to kind of look at it and say, is it time to counter? Is it time to just deal with what we got? How do we address it? And the way I see it, it's the characters are there. We all know what they are. We just have to say, okay, which of these characters am I going to use in what functionality? That's the way I'm seeing it right now. Jay, what do you think at this point?
It's such a weird meta. It's hard to say. I feel like it's the game where you probably just want to take a good archetype and play it as good and as optimized as you can. I don't think it's really... I feel like the field is too diverse to start trying to counter stuff because you're not going to be able to cover all your bases well enough, or even enough bases because everything is so different. Like what we have Unimind Lockjaw, we have X-Men, Sam, Shredders. Like nothing covers enough of those bases.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
yeah. We also have to add the fact that certain availability of certain powers is gone. We don't have ready access to Precision Strike anymore. It's not a gimme power. How do we get it now? Is there anybody that even hands it out? I don't know.
No.
Nobody gives out Precision Strike, so then it's got to come on the dial. If the character loses it, you're boned. So the characters that have super senses are rolling full value. We have maybe a cup. I don't even think we have a ton of worthwhile Battle Fury, which means shape change rolls are being made. Like,
yeah, I can't. What is there any? I can't think of any call in Battle Fury.
No, I can't think of. I mean, there might be something that you're talking to the guy who's kind of already doesn't have a fantastic mind and stuff. You can't call in a Hulk.
No, there's no X-Men Battle Fury. Like there's Wolverine gets it, but it's on top dial.
Brew doesn't have a line that has Battle Fury.
Well, he gets a leader. You can't call it in. Yeah.
Yep.
So shape change, the symbiote, and I guess you could also say the mirror, but I'm not a fan of the mirror. But the symbiote, pretty good.
Yeah. So getting your rollouts is a good thing to consider. Finding ways to get them. I mean, here's the thing: equipment is something you can have multiples of, right? So you can have a symbiote and Mjolnir if you're running a Star Fox, right? Star Fox is going to be getting Mjolnir or getting the symbiote unless the matchup calls for it. Thank you, William Dickey. William Dickey in the chat has pointed out that the Jonathan Pog has Battle Fury. So you got to have a 100-point character who calls in all new Wolverine, who will then give a Jonathan Pog. And
what's being played that can do that? Like Unimind?
Yeah, Unimind can do it. Can't be Star Fox. I mean, got to find a way to do it.
Yeah.
So, Unimind has a tool against shape change. Fantastic.
I guess you could say the Blackbird if you can get the real girl in, whatever. But basically,
if you can get a real girl, man, you're my hero.
Well, it's a little easier to do now because you get the Blackbird resource roll. You get a bonus for student IDs, and now you're basically using student IDs for like the main X-Men. Because why would you use Headmaster Jean over the student?
Well, okay, but the student IDs still require a power action to Real Boy, right?
Yeah. Oh, you're saying okay? I thought you meant yeah.
Like that's the thing about that big thing about the Blackbird. I can't believe I think about it. I look at it and I go, that is the deciding factor. Like that was what made the Quinjet so busted was a free action Real Boy. Like that's bonkers to think about now. You know, first turn, take an action. Second, and then clear that action token. That action token now has a 20-point showing. Next turn, I call in Adam as a Real Boy. Adam might get further than 20. Who knows? It's just like a 66% chance that I never made. I always roll the 1. But still, I'm on now click 6 of that dial. I've now got a 60-point character I can free action call in, or I can take a power action on this turn still, not Real Boy somebody like a Nick Fury, do a ton of damage, roll my die, I move it forward. That was turn 2. You can't really do that with the Blackbird now because Blackbird still clears and adds to the dial, right?
I think the resource is literally the same as the Quinjet, except for the power and the student part.
Okay, so First turn I move. Second turn I clear. What can I call in? And if I can call it in, that takes a power action. Is it worth it, the power action in a 20-point thing? I don't know. So you really actually have where the Quinjet was an engine to bring out the ID cards. The Blackbird is an engine that has to be surrounded by a really good team. In that matter. Now, if we go back to Aaron Cantu's first version that Eastenbrock ran fairly well, I believe he was running like a 70-point Quinjet at that time. I might be wrong.
I can't remember. All I remember is that he had also a Nighthawk, I think. Yeah.
But, you know, you kind of move it back and go back and try to move it along.
Yeah, Ed won with the half, right? With the half Quinjet?
Yeah.
Whereas Isaac was playing the full. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Fast Forces, Rusties, or Skids. Okay, but now you're stuck with a Rusty or Skids on your team.
Yeah, that's a really easy Rusty to KO.
Is it? Yeah, well, Skids is 25 and Rusty's 25. So you're still not there because it's 20 on click 2.
Oh, God, yeah.
So you have to be on click 3 in order to get a Rusty or Skids because they have to be at that point value or less, right? And click 2 is 20.
Yeah.
Again, I want the Blackbird to be a lot better than it is, but it's that one thing plus the dial that's attached to it. Like those two things together, just nope.
I mean, we were talking about something else before the Blackbird came up.
Battle
Fury thing, the rollout.
Yeah, well, we were trying to get Battle Fury, which led to the conversation of Jonathan and what brings out all new Wolverine in the current competitive environment.
Unimind, and that's it. Like,
yeah. It's Unimind or that Blackbird.
I'm trying to think. The highest point figure in the top 4 was the Unimind. Next highest would have been Star Fox at 80.
Yep, Star Fox is 80. And then after that is...
No, I'm wrong. Mini at 90.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Was Mini Shredder on somebody? Oh, Matt Grichunas' team, right?
Yeah. So not high enough even then, even with the awesome Jonathan proper ruling or whatever. So. And
then after that was 80 at Star Fox, which showed up twice. Then after that, we go back to the Unimind team and talk about his Lockjaw at 75.
Yeah, Shredder Clone's also 75, Affinity 75, but yeah, not quite. And we're also, the newest sets are Nothing's Good in Turtles for competitive, and the highest point figure in Batman is the 100-point Superman so far. So
I'm not even looking at Batman as a thing, right?
Right.
KJ Foster mentions Mistress Death, also an option.
Good point.
I'd rather be attacking with Mjolnir though.
Yeah.
But, you know, if the option is we need to get past shape change. Now, okay, let's go back. And let's counterpoint my own point that I'm raising. What's using shape change?
A lot of things. Unimind is either symbioting.
I think it's really just a walking wood or symbioting things.
Or Unimind can pick it off Cersei.
Are they still running Cersei's? Because I know they're running Star Fox.
I am.
Okay. Well, you're weird. You ran Falcon's robot in.
That was a good figure. But basically, I think because there's Pulse Wave Collins now, so I think Cersei's actually still good. Because of the South.
That's fair. Fair point.
But basically, the Walking Woods. Walking Woods are kind of important. Those are ridiculously dangerous little trees there.
Yeah.
Oh, and I guess the Professor X inspiration, and it's a relevant figure. So
yeah. Okay. So they're there. Hawkman and Hawkgirl are going to be a Batman animated series in the chat there. So that's consideration we don't have for Canadian Nationals right now. We're kind of looking to Canadian Nationals, and the next thing after that's going to be states and provincials, which we'll start talking about a little closer to that. But right now we're kind of focused on that. What do we have post Ninja Turtles to kind of fix what we have?
We have to keep in mind all the concept that actually will be legal for now for Canadian.
Okay, and we look to that, and nothing's really fixing the game per se. I mean,
it's only making things worse with more access to ID cards for the.
If you ask me, one thing I think might be super useful is Kirkahura, just to deal with maps like the Underground.
Star Trek figure to deal with Star Trek.
Yeah,
I like it.
Star Trek character to deal with the Star Trek map. So that's a thing to help deal with things.
Yeah.
So, but we go back. KG Foster, you mentioned Mistress Death. Is there a Mistress Death team that's threatening? I didn't see any on camera.
PJ played a cool.
There was one on camera. PJ had a great game that he was losing 800 to 300. And
he is. Yeah, but I don't know if Mistress Death is good right now because it's so swarmy.
Well, I mean, has there ever been a problem? What's your problem with the swarm, Jay?
I like the swarm. I'm just saying that's what the game looks like right now. So single targeting characters one at a time, not necessarily helping.
That's fair. I can see that. She does have Pulse Wave though. If you can get TK off on her. Yeah,
there is access to TK.
Never forget her 12 attack Pulse Wave if you can get a TK off properly with her.
Yeah.
And yeah, KJ Foster also wants to point out Chase Kirk on what's his name? Guy who won last year.
Dustin Cedars.
Dustin Cedar had, I think, 2 Chase Kirks on his team.
It's a good figure.
Yeah. Free action close combat expert. Have fun with that.
Yeah, I think he's 10-2 to start, but like Overdrive has power. You can get some good stuff going there.
It was very similar to my Batroc Bomb I was looking at. Not my Batroc Bomb, actually. Somebody else had played it at ROC Limited. And I was like, that is amazing. I love it. And it lets me say Batroc Zeliper in this silly French accents. Batroc is played by Georges St. Pierre. I might bet. Those of you who watched the movie. But yeah, so Captain Kirk falls into one of those like select few characters. I think for next episode, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come up with the list of characters that are currently being played in the game, what we might be able to add to deal with that, and kind of have a discussion on that. What do you think, Jay? What do you think, fans in the chat?
Sounds interesting.
Yeah. So we're going to kind of nip it in the bud for now. We have where are we at right now? We're in late June. We have two more episodes until you and I are headed to Canadian Nationals. So we have 2. Oh my God, that time kind of really picked up on us.
Yeah, I've been lucky. I've managed to get in as much playtesting as I have because I was rusty. Yeah.
So we have 2 weeks to talk about what our meta is going to look like in Canadian Nationals, which also semi-forms the conversation leading up to the States Provincials. But the States Provincials are also going to have to, some of them are going to consider, not all of them, but a lot of them are going to have to take into consideration the chases from the Batman animated series. Actually, I think that set should be legal by the time States Provincial starts because we, from my understanding, and I might be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, but we have Canadian Nationals on the same weekend that pre-releases are occurring for Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, the release is the 18th.
And the release is the 18th. So the week after, we are coming back from Canadian Nationals. Hello, Batman. And then
it will be relevant for Provincials.
Is that the weekend after is Provincials, if I remember correctly?
2 weeks after Canadian Nationals.
So 2 weeks after Canadian Nationals, we have to deal with the Batman animated series meta, which will, as we discussed earlier, will definitely include the chases for sure. And it could very well reshape what we're seeing because there's a lot more that we're talking about in that set when we also consider the ID cards from the con stuff, such as the Joker, Poison Ivy, Two-Face, and Mr. Freeze, right? Mr. Freeze?
Yes. And Joker, Harley, Freeze.
Joker, Harley, Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze. Two-Face. I don't know.
Harley is going to be kind of relevant. I think the idea of calling in Harley for the action token energy explosion off of Sam is kind of very good.
All right, so starting next week is our conversation. We're not gonna necessarily power rank it, but we're going to discuss what exists, the combinations, the figures that you can use of in combination that we're seeing. But then we're also going to try to add to that list and see what things can help deal with those things and kind of help everybody have the same conversation we're having with each other about what the do we do when it comes to dealing with what we have to look forward to in Canadian Nationals. We're going to move to questions in a second, but I do want to take a second to remind everybody that we are on Patreon. Check us out at patreon.com/Heroclix. If you want to support us a little bit, you get access to our patron Discord, and you can possibly be getting stacks and stacks of these Married with Clicks action tokens. We're actually looking forward to next year. We are doing a big overhaul of that system. We're going to talk to the guys over at Big Bully Games, but it could be an interesting little twist on that. It's something we had a conversation about, myself and Amber, this weekend, and hopefully that improves. But in the meantime, those action tokens are going to be something we do. In addition to all the other available options that we have, $5 a month gets you early access to any of our recorded content. We actually just recorded a new casual corner, 4 new episodes of Metafix. And of course, I am back here on the Metal Lab to talk with everybody. So all of that kind of helps support getting us on there. And it helps me give Jay a little bit of money to help him or to entice him to do things. He gets a percentage. It's not much, but it feeds him at least a day. As well, if you are part of the patron program, we have moved our patron hangout to the first Sunday of the month. And lo and behold, the first Sunday of July is Canada Day. So on Canada Day, this Sunday, patrons, you get to hang out with myself and Amber and chit-chat a little. You open your wallets to us, so we'll open our minds to you. So that's this Sunday, July 1st, our patron hangout. We'll be filming it live, of course, so you'll be able to catch it on the channel if you're not part of the patrons. As well, you can become a patron for a day on that one by simply including yourself a super chat. The super chat is an option that you have in YouTube, where if you're in the chat, you get that little $sign and give us a couple bucks or a buck or whatever you want, and we recognize it. And I generally immediately stop everything I'm doing and make sure we address those, because that's more people opening their wallets to us and supporting us in our own little ways. But that said, it's time to move to the Facebook and find out what everybody's asking. Before I do that, Jay, do you have anything you want to add before we start addressing questions?
I think I'm good.
You're good. Okay. Nice, easy one on my day back, though. We'll see how answering questions goes, as it usually tends to send me through the ringer, or I send the questions through the ringer. All right, but we only have 2 on the Facebook this week, both of them from Michael Fedor, the first, and probably going to be the last patron if we ever shut that system down. And he has his first question is, I want to build a new team around Cosmic Spider-Man. What power or support piece would you say he is missing in the meta to help him? I think missing the idea to blow through multiple walls really hurt him. In fact, if you only blow through one wall at a time is what makes him kind of iffy. I know a 75-point dial is very enticing, but it's like if I was to compare 75-point Cosmic Spider-Man on board to 75-point Goblin King, we have a winner over here. Even without the power Cosmic, I think this guy still stands heads and tails above. So what is he missing? I think flexibility. He's very rigid in his functionality. I am a ranged attacker with a lot of stats. If you get close to me, I can use those stats to do a bunch of damage, but it's not as effective as I am at range. He's a super long range based guy, and that kind of limits his ability to a certain degree. And that's why I get a little on him. I do miss him as an ID card call-in. He was one of the best ID card call-ins ever, in my opinion. He helped me win quite a few games at 75 points. But yeah, if you're to build around him, you need to keep him alive, keep him from getting hit, and keep him mobile somehow. And I don't think there's a lot of support pieces that really help that, other than the keeping him alive. Because there's a couple characters with support that can help him out. I don't know. What do you think, Jay?
I think just mobility in general, if you want to main force him. Or, well, it doesn't really say what points.
Yeah, so I'm assuming between 175 and 75 for a 300-point game. But if you're running the
I don't think 7. I would want to guess 175.
Yeah.
Because the 75 is calling only.
Yeah.
I think the attack values are the problem for 175.
Mm-hmm.
So take care of those. Perplex is a power that we have.
Perplex is a power you can get for cheap, too. Characters like WizKid can help that, too, because he just has to be there and he gets additional attack. There's a lot of really good PD team ability that gets overlooked from, what's the set I'm thinking of? The last DC set, Harley Quinn. A lot of PD characters that I think get overlooked.
And the 50-point tank has PD. Once you call it in, you get PD for what it's worth. Actually, that mattered in a playtesting game the other day. Actually, so
oh yeah,
it did. So don't discount it.
Would it have to be piloted to use the PD capability? It's not an active action, eh?
No, it's just if character next to it is making the range attack, modify the defense.
Okay, cool.
It just has it and enhancement, so it's like, oh, I have kind of a support piece now. But basically, essentially, attack values would be my answer to that question.
All right. Next up, Michael Fedor has a secondary question. It's a more silly question, he said. As a silly side question, can you address this if you have any time left over? We got a little bit. What is the appropriate level of disappointment I should have knowing that Gore the God Butcher is Golden Age? Negative disappointment? I forgot he existed until just now?
He didn't hold up so well, unfortunately. I wish he did, or I wish we got a new version. Considering that all the stuff that we have now that we didn't actually have when he came out. So, because we have Unworthy Thor now, and that kind of ties in nicely. So, yeah. It's sad that we don't have one in Modern, but it's not sad that we don't have that one in Modern. Let's put it that way.
All right. I got a question in our channel chat, or our Facebook group chat. What is your favorite preview from Batman the Animated Series set so far? And what do you think of the no-point cost for the Chases alert? Okay, so the Chases, our opinions are at the front of this episode. So once it's either uploaded, or if you feel like going back and seeing my abject horror face to those Chases, it's back there. I don't think the figure I'm really hyped for has been previewed, but the Ventriloquist, I was shocked existed. I was just like, they made him? So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how that goes and seeing what they do with that. That's my excitement.
Where are you getting this question from?
This came in on the chat on the Facebook, the fan page. I got it.
Oh, sorry. What was the question again?
It was, what was your favorite preview from Batman the Animated Series so far? And what do you think of the no point cost chases? So, like I had said, our opinions are at the front of the episode about the chases. That's for sure.
It's actually really hard to say, but I think I have a definitive answer for favorite figure: Hawkman and Hawkgirl. By far, it's perfectly designed. Like there is not a single complaint there. As far as character accuracy and the actual goodness of the dial goes. Although I have heard a little bit of complaining that like it's not as accurate to the cartoon, but who cares because we didn't have that figure before.
In defense of that, it was one of those it was one of the winner made figures.
Yeah, it was the 2016 Team Worlds figure. So
those guys beat us in the Swiss. Huh? Those guys beat me, Mike, and Tom in the Swiss. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Even though we also barely squeaked into the top 16, top 8, whatever.
Yeah, I think my team made day 2, but we had between the 6 packs we used for day 1 and day 2, we got less than a brick's correlation of good stuff. We had literally a common prime and 1 super rare between the 12 packs. So that was the worst brick I ever bought.
Well, you only bought half of it because you didn't have to pay for the second half of the tournament.
Still,
which they seem to get around. Like, where did all this money go? Oh, we just gave away packs of second seal.
So the problem with DC champion figures is how few DC sets we get. So you got to throw them in where you can because we don't have a next DC set announced. So.
No, we don't. No. The next one announced is Earth X, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. We have nothing DC at all after this. So
yeah. Blame Warner Brothers, not WizKids, guys. So many people are like, oh my God, why doesn't WizKids make DC sets? Well, it's a licensed product, and you're only allowed to release what the licensee allows you. So.
DC is hard to work with, notoriously. So yeah.
All right. Next up, we move into the chat. If you're watching us live, put in big capital letters question so we can see it in the chat because the conversation seems to have started. But also, if you're watching us in the archive, throw questions in the comments and we'll try to address some as we can throughout the week. All right. So, William Dickey, I recently obtained a Rock of Ages, a Rock of Eternity. Should I look for a Pandora's Box or can the rock be useful in Rock Age? All right. So, Rock of Eternity had about a week's worth of lifespan where it was good. And it all existed around the Krang. And that's what Rock of Eternity does. Rock of Eternity makes Krang great. Rock Age, though, has a lot of resources that kind of outclass both the Pandora's Box and Rock of Eternity, if I remember correctly. Like, I think Rock Age allows the batteries.
Yeah, I think the only banned resource is the book.
Yeah, so...
Oh, no, and the... Wait, did they take Orange power battery off?
I think, well, it depends. The ban list is specific to the West Coast.
It's fluid.
Right?
It's hard to say. I can't remember. But for the most part, all resources are allowed.
Yeah, all resources are allowed. So I feel like while Pandora's Box is really neato, it's very muchly outclassed pace-wise by the power battery. Because on the power battery, you're equipping with actions from the power battery, not from the character equipping the item, which really speeds up the pace of things.
Yeah, I don't see how anything that the Pandora's Box gives you is better.
Yeah, I mean, there's characters that allow you to take actions as free actions. I think Alyosha Craven could allow Gilead Dawkins to equip with something from Pandora's Box with an action that doesn't count as your action total. That would be but all of a sudden you're using the Rock of Age to equip Pogs. the Pandora's Box. It's like you've worked so hard to make it happen this way. Is that in the end worth it? Because that in itself takes a lot of work. I think the power batteries really outclass Pandora's Box. My big question is, how did you not get both at the same time? Because Pandora's Box and the Rock of Eternity were usually packaged together. So get your Pandora's Box from the guy and kick him in the face. I don't know. That's the way I see it. The two should not be separated, really, because they were packaged in the same package. All right. William Dickey also asks, Christmas Joker as a call-in. I think you addressed this already, Jay, right?
Very good call-in.
Yeah. Even
better, theoretically, once we actually see what the equipment does, because you would get the equipment that way.
Mm-hmm. All right. What figure you guys most excited for the Batman set? We've already addressed. Is the low point con Starro viable? This comes from KJ Foster. Me and Amber, I know, took a good look at the higher point version of Starro. I believe we're talking about the retaliation dial on him.
I mean, that probably seems correct. It is the lowest.
Okay, so if his lowest value is the retaliation, I believe his retaliation is mind control.
Yeah, mind control that can also work with extra targets and is 10 range.
Yeah.
I don't see how that's not good.
I don't see how that's not pretty. It's very viable. Very viable.
Yeah, doubly so since Nighthawk retired.
Also, does he actually naturally have mind control? This is an important question.
Oh, damn it. Units, help me. One sec.
Got it. I got it here. P. Here it is. Okay. So he does actually have mind control. Yes. Okay. Hear me out. You mind control your opponent's character who you're retaliating on. Cool. Good job. Then you mind control one of their colossals and like attack another colossal or something if you can. So like if let's hypothetical situation. They've attacked your dude and you mind control retaliate that dude, but put yourself in a situation where you're 10 squares away from that dude and their Surtur, and then you use their Surtur to attack their Carnage or their whatever.
And because you won't have a character in your forest that did damage, whatever, you can't retaliate on in return.
Exactly.
Because your mind control, that's not true unless you mind control their retaliator, because then you would have attacked their retaliator.
Their retaliator would be able to attack your Starro anyway.
But who cares?
Colossal. Your goal is to get more points after when you're about to lose a 20-point character.
Yeah, your return on investment there will be good.
Yeah. The King 200X question: what do you think is going to be meta from the Batman Beyond set? Chases, that's for sure. And sideline Joker. Jay, anything you want to add there?
Zatanna. I think Hawkman and Hawker will have potential with their like 12 clicks of life. Maybe Clock King Prime, especially because primes are so uncommon now. Like, if you're not playing a Brutex on your sideline, you're not using a prime on your team these days, unless you're randomly playing Anarchy. But for 99% of players, it's your prime slot is open outside of Brutex. So maybe. Otherwise, none of the other primes. Yeah. And nothing really in the fast forces stood out too much. So let's say, yeah, let's end with that.
Scarecrow looks pretty interesting too.
Yeah. We're still waiting on finding out what the last non-prime is, so who knows?
Yeah. William Dickey, I guess, wanted us to add the 100-point Starro to our discussion, so we go back to the 100-point Starro. He's tough. He is able to make the Starro fights, and then he's able to mind control to the Starro fights, if I remember correctly. Sidestep mind control. When you use mind control, you may KO a Starro fight bystander adjacent to an opposing character. If you do, Starro may target the opposing character regardless of range and line of fire. Target the Starro's mind control, modified defense -1 for each Starro fight bystander adjacent to them. Then the Starro spread. Whenever a Starro hits, generate a Starro bystander adjacent to each hit character. Generate 3 or you can take a power action and generate 3 Starro fight bystanders. Beginning your turn, if there are 6 Starro fight bystanders on the map, heal Starro 1 click. Maximum 6 Starro fight bystanders on the map. You may generate up to that number. It's not bad. You have to work around it. You need to get some damage doing because you're spending 100 points to try to control your opponent's team. Mind control isn't a win-all condition on its own. So you're spending a 30 points attempt to use your opponent's team to win. And if your opponent can deal with Starro Starro is really tough. He's quintessence with it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus the stop click on the last click. So you have to attack him at minimum twice if you're somehow getting through all that invincible and everything like that. So it's
you have to, but if you're on a bad map, you basically have to make Starro fights, carry them, have them not die with a 10 defense, and then kick off the no range and line of fire. I guess you can carry them the next turn.
Yeah. The other thing too is if they have 6 Starro fights out, that's when I'm going to start attacking Starro fights. I'm not wasting actions to kill Starro fights. I'm trying to get Starro dead first.
I think it could combo well with other stuff, not with theme. Like, I feel like your game plan could be like pop the Starro fights out, carry them the next turn with Taxi plus Sam, do the mind control, do the whatever. You could build around it, but I'm not quite sure. It's very map dependent.
Yeah, it'll take some work. It could be done.
If his mobility was a little better, different story. But that low movement sidestep, yeah, he's really relying on his actual range.
Yeah, range is 10.
Yeah, it's not a bad range, but we've been talking about the Star Trek map for a reason.
Yeah, Star Trek map will just kind of go, and it's a 2-map meta, right? And the other thing too is Starro doesn't see through hindering. Wakanda is going to be a problem with +2 hindering bonuses, I believe it gets. So
yeah, he's not gonna have a fun time there.
So he's gonna like the 2 maps, the 2 most dominant maps in the current competitive game. Starro kind of goes, So Starro Carnage. Yeah, I mean Carnage is just good.
You like Carnage all of a sudden?
Who, me? You tell me if I like Carnage. Does he make bystander tokens?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're not going to not see me play Carnage. I'm crazy like that. All right. There's nothing going on in the Discord today. birthday. Except for Nathaniel, who asks what Jason, and it's this Jason right here. This one is back in action, baby. I have missed you guys a lot, and I'm looking forward to being back on the show on Mondays again. I hope everybody had a little bit of a fun time with me, getting back into the swing of things. Feels like I've never left. I've missed you guys.
Yeah, all of us here who are eagerly enjoying talking to you. All one of us.
Okay, we're going to throw in one more question there because he just kind of snuck in there. Happy Little Heroclix wants to know, why do maps cost points right now? Because. Just because. Gosh, questions keep coming in. Drew, I believe that's Drew from the Discord. Question, top 5 meta pieces. Top 5.
Oh, man.
Star Fox, no, just kidding. Okay, Star Fox definitely hits in the top. Unimind also hits in the top. This is in no particular order. So, Star Fox, Unimind, because Unimind's still there. Unimind is definitely still in the top 5 for consideration. Insert name of Shredder, or all Shredders tied at 3rd, except for some. And that's the Shredders Return the Shredders. So they're definitely in there, tied somewhere. Samcap is in there too. And I'm strictly sticking to offense because retaliation, there's a bunch of other things that are kind of there. But what was the other one? Jay, you can kind of jump in there if you have any.
Well, I don't know if you can't lockjaw as, but.
Hey, yeah, we could throw lockjaw as this pain in the butt thing to kill.
His offenses are respectable. So I was gonna say Lockjaw, Uni, Sam. I don't play this game competitively anymore. What do I know?
William Dick.
I like Double Dinosaur right now. I feel like he's hard to deal with. Can't chew through all his stop clicks.
Yeah, he's a hard one to get. Well, I mean, he's got the one stop click.
Well, his pseudo top dial stop clicks, and then his actual stop.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you can ignore defense though with him, you get right to stop click number 1. So.
Right, but Surtur shouldn't be retaliating on him because he's not attacking.
He's attacking with the pops. That's correct. Right, you're right.
And Green Arrow main force is not common, but I will say him.
But it happens because George.
Yeah, George's. This is true.
William Dickey, 100-point Carnage, monster theme, too squishy? Nope. Not too squishy. That's on me. I'm going to leave it at that. We can talk about it later sometime. But monster theme is something to consider. And 100-point Carnage is something worth looking at. Especially when you consider that if you can pull off a retaliation with him, he can attack 3 times. Is that 100 hand slap enough for you?
Well, what the actual retaliation, shoot another retaliator and Pog?
No. 100-point Carnage doesn't have colossal
100-point Carnage. Oh, yeah.
So he retaliates, and then he flurries.
Yes.
And then the Pog attacks.
Oh, yeah. And that is 2 actions, and you have leadership on every team now, so. Well, and he shares monster with Groot, so.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. No, it's something to even look at. I might know. And you know what? They added support with a full set. The entire set. All the characters had the monster keyword.
We just need that Undead 2. It's old well enough.
You don't even need Undead 2. Undead 1 has what the monster team needs.
Right, but more Undead.
Doctor. The Doctor. The Doctor is in. All right. On that note, I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank Jay for joining me. Thank you very much, Jay.
Thanks.
I'm back in action. And that also means that we have to thank our sponsors over at majesticccg.com/apex-insight, not /Heroclix. That would have been terrible. MajesticCCG.com/Apex-Insiders is the one-stop source for all awesome things Heroclix. They're great minds working on articles for that site. And at $3 a month, you get access to the premium articles, the cream of the crop stuff. But just visiting the site on a regular basis, you do get updates on a regular basis for competitive play. And there is a regular set of free articles out there for players who would be interested in checking some stuff out. I know a number of my articles have made it to the free page back in the day when I used to have time to write. Right now, I'm just finding time to find myself back in here. Jay is a semi-regular. I'm pointing at Jay like he's there, but this is a two-man operation right now, so you can't see his face. But he's also more regular than I am contributor to the site. So on that note, check them out, MajesticCCG.com/Apex-Insiders. They've been a long-time supporter of the channel. I want to thank them for all their help and all their love all the time. On that note, guys, it's getting into Canadian national season. It's time to start thinking about getting extra games in, and extra games means practice, because practice
makes
your
team
better. Have a good night, everybody.